Hi, my name is Intro, and this is the Jacob. Wait,
Other
yeah,
way
that
around,
sounds
man.
right. No, it's got to be close. All right, here we also have this is a story is happening.
I'll never let you do the intro again.
Wait, can you do it
Thank
again?
God.
I was dead.
No, it's okay. The dead one's Greg,
What?
and then the one who said he wasn't gonna let me do it again is Rudy,
Hi, it's me, Rudy.
and he's telling a story.
I'm telling a story.
It's about something.
It's about
and-
something.
I'm sure we're gonna hear a title any second.
The story.
Looking at this picture of Shrek fucking Fiona.
No, you should not be. That's the special Discord, dude. Don't talk about that one.
Okay.
The story today is called "He's the Cook." Yes, and I poured my blood, sweat, and tears in this, and I only proofread it once. So get prepared for me to say "What the fuck," and then go "Oh," and then read it perfectly fine. Because that's gonna happen a few times, I'm sure. So,
Blood, sweat, and tears does not allow you to read it a second time.
no, it probably just makes my phone work all wonky because it's not supposed to
Oh.
work in that kind of liquid.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. But anyway, here we go.
Okay.
The fourth season was the final season of the Platinum Chef cooking show. Huh?
He said the word wrong.
Fuck you. Season.
First sentence.
Shut the fuck up, asshole.
Who hosts Iron Chef?
Who knows? It's that one dude that always looks real cool. He's just like,
Yeah, Guy Fieri.
yeah.
He
Anyway,
looks cool.
So Gui Fire is hosting Platinum Chef.
oh, I'm sure. The show featured all-star cooks facing off against each other with hilarious and sometimes lethal challenges. This is a story all about how the show got flipped, turned upside, canceled. And I'd like to take a moment, just sit right there. I'll tell you all about how the show's off the air.
No! Fucking hang with your auntie and your uncle and off the air. No.
Episode 400,056. It was the finale episode.
Jesus.
It was the finale episode between Rudy Lopezio and his arch nemesis, Norman Nyan of Your Business. The judges all had given them ties ever since episode 4. And since then, they've been facing off again and again, non-stop, to see who was the true Platinum Chef.
400,000 episodes of you and Norman going at it? Jesus.
They couldn't figure it out. It's a tie.
Who watched that and was like, yeah, no, I need to see this 399,000 more times?
Who knows? The judges consisted of Granger the Range. I don't really care about food, goober.
Hell yeah.
The top chef of his class from the Navy meals. His expertise was literally explaining food into existence. Don't ask me how he did it. I don't fucking know.
How'd he do it?
I don't fucking know. Then there's J. Bear Herbert. He could cook a warm up mac and cheese easy mac bowl using only his bow and his wits. And finally, next to him was Cooking Mama. I don't even think I need to explain to you why she's there. If you haven't already heard of her, you're probably dead.
Don't worry, Mama will fix this.
Exactly. You might be wondering how Rude Dude and Norman have been getting ties when there's 3 judges, and I'm wondering why you haven't shut the fuck up. The stage is set.
Cooking Mama gets to vote twice.
Yeah, exactly. But here we go. The stage is set, and the cooks are in their respective cooking areas. First, before the fire could heat those pans, the challenge must be revealed. And all the judges stood and in unison chanted, "Today's challenge is..." The audience goes quiet. The whole building is so silent that when Rude Dude shouted himself in anticipation, literally everyone heard. But just as the embarrassment set in, the judges continued, "A peanut butter and jelly sandwich." The audience lit up like a firework, going crazy, throwing shit at the walls. All 5 of them were screaming as loud as they could.
Wait, who's in the audience? Is just like 5 monkeys?
This is... Anyway.
It's just the apes from fucking 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, they're going fucking apeshit.
Yeah.
That monolith didn't teach him anything.
Yeah.
Uh,
Instead of a monolith, just put peanut butter and jelly sandwich in the middle.
they go absolutely crazy. With that, the judges sat and the buzzers rang. Both Rude Dude and Norman were almost frozen. The timers ticked, but they were unable to find themselves. Up until this point, challengers to cook were otherworldly. Live shark tartar, gamer cum a la mode, cheese block.
Wait a minute.
Yeah? What?
I don't think that's FDA approved.
Is it not?
I
The
don't
judges
think so.
wanted it.
Okay. Wait. You're telling me, Jacob, and Cooking Mama wanted gamer cum Ella mode.
Yeah.
After this many episodes, why not?
Yeah, dude, it's fucking...
I mean, yeah, 400. God, that's like. I don't, not a single fucking television show even comes close.
Yeah, no. They recorded
ridiculous.
100 episodes a day for 1,000 days. Even more than. They recorded 400 episodes a day for 1,000 days.
100 episodes a day. How long are the episodes?
Seconds.
Shit.
Okay. Up until this point, challenges to cook were otherworldly. Live shark tartar, gamer cum a la mode, cheese block. But this was too normal. Norman was the first to shake from his stupor. He took one step and his leg came out from underneath him, though. Was there always this much wire? He looked at his leg to see what he tripped on. Nothing. Well, maybe he just tripped on himself. Oh well, he thought. Norman got up again, imagining his prize money of $4.62 in his pocket. As he lifted his head...
Cents for 400,000 episodes. Prize can't be that good.
Exactly. They spent all the prize money on the show.
Yeah.
As he lifted his head, he felt caught again. The peculiar feeling was tenfold, as now both his foot and his head were stuck to something. With all his might, Norman turned his head up and was met face to face with a giant alien spider creature. Ah! He screamed. As he finally broke free and backed up, Norman noticed the in the gleam of the stage lights a series of almost invisible and incredibly strong spider webs, all draped around his station. Nervously, he searched around. The spider he saw just then had up and vanished. Sweat dripped down the flustered chef. Sweat dripped down the flustered chef. There you go. And he glanced over at Rude to see what terror awaited him. Rude Dude stared back and realized that maybe the judges rigged the game in favor of him. I'll refuse to work in these conditions! Dude, Rude exclaimed. Don't worry. We made sure to level the playing field, the ranger replied. Rude nervously scoured his cooking station. Nothing obvious was out of the ordinary, except that trash can. Was it always there? Rude pussyfooted towards the chrome can.
What did he do?
He pussyfooted towards it.
Oh,
Naturally.
okay.
The chrome can, and slowly lifted the handle to see what horrors lied within. Out popped a large and horrid mutant rodent. It pounced Rude Dude and clawed and ripped at his throat. Quickly, Rude threw the monster off, and it landed on its feet, ready to pounce again. Rude got back.
Ratatouille's going apeshit.
Yeah, he's going absolutely insane. That's the real Remy. Rude got back up on his feet, covered in bite and claw marks. A slight stare down, and Rude armed himself with a nearby butcher's knife. Rude and Norman again made eye contact, and they both nodded to each other. If this was the way they died, then so be it! Norman broke into a full sprint towards the shelf of ingredients. Immediately his torso was stuck in the web yet again. In the background, the sound of clinging metal and soaked the atmosphere. The creature Rude was fighting was fast and deadly, dodging knife swings left and right, grabbing onto Rude's leg and gnawing on what it could. Norman was so caught up in watching the display that he didn't notice the spider was crawling up to him again, on the strand that he was stuck on. Norman felt a sharp and sudden pain in his shoulder. He turned quickly and grabbed the spider with both hands and punted the arachnid sky high into the rafters and into a stage light. The electric sparks. Yeah, dude. The electric sparks flew everywhere. The corpse of the spider fell limp on the ground next to Norman. Confidently, he sauntered forward. The bite hurt, but it wasn't all that bad. Behind all this stood Rude, still in battle with the Cretan. The mutant somehow managed to take the peanut butter off the shelf before Rude could get to it. Rude was badly...
Fuck that little thing.
Exactly, dude. Rude was badly beaten and bloodied. The animal was kicking his ass. Rude was still armed with his knife, and was now holding a small jar of jelly and a loaf of bread in the crook of his arm. All Rude needed was that damn packet of peanut butter in the jaws of that monstrous heathen. A swift flick of the wrist, and Rude sent the knife hurtling towards the head of the mutant rodent. It twitched its head out of harm's way, and the knife clashed against the ground next to it. Exactly, right?
Quick question.
Yeah.
Is every episode of Platinum Chef like this?
No. This is the only one.
Oh.
This is why it's the last episode.
Oh, if so, I would understand why it's gotten so many episodes. If I were to just watch people in mortal danger constantly, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah. Would you be okay with it?
No, but for the sake of the joke, yes.
Sounds like a great show to me.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, it is. And the knife clashed against the ground next to it. It was almost snidely grinning at Rude until it realized the packet had been cut. The full and cut peanut butter packet was laying on the ground next to it, next to the knife. Before it could even think, Rude sprinted past and nabbed it. Now that all the ingredients were gathered, it was time to assemble. Norman was having a hard time sifting through the wire-strung webs. It was taxing, but he made it through. In his hand, he had his station's packet of peanut butter and the loaf of bread. He was making his way over to the refrigerator, where the jelly was stored, when suddenly, his arm carrying the ingredients gave out. On the floor scattered the packet and bread. Norman bent over to pick up what he dropped, and when he did, he lost his balance. Norman fell forward and rolled. The whole room was spinning like crazy, and he was sweating bullets. The shoulder where he was bit started burning like a hot iron, was searing him.
He's poisoned.
Oh, that he is. He stood up with what little balance he had, and wiped his forehead, and whipped the sweat onto the floor next to him. One little spider bite wasn't going to take this wind away from him.
He's about to fucking die. he's gonna die of poison, and he's like, "Fuck it, I just gotta make this sandwich." That's it.
Yeah, because he's gotta win. He's gotta win that $4.67. Norman gathered his ingredients and slammed them on the counter. He wound up for a charge and threw himself in the direction of the refrigerator. He blasted through all the webs between him and the handle. His sweat-covered hand latched onto the knob and swung it open. As he exerted this force, he blew chunks all over the ground.
Oh no, that's not good. That's
Then
not food safe.
I would say not. Then he reached into the fridge and retrieved his small jar of jelly. The crowd again blew up. This had been the most entertaining out of all the episodes they've ever seen.
The 5 monkeys throwing shit at the wall.
The ratings skyrocketed. The crowds had herded into the studio. The judges sat unimpressed. The timer had only 1 minute left. Rudy and Norman continued on. The changes in their environment did not faze them. They were on a mission to make a peanut butter and motherfucking jelly sandwich. Rude was focusing on applying the peanut butter to the bottom half of the sandwich. The mutant creature was continually chewing on Rude's leg. Blood soaked the mat that Rude stood on, and the amount of blood lost was getting to him, fainting slightly ever so often. At times, the rodent would attempt to jump and attack Rude's face, but Rude was always deny it and continue with assembly. But this time, the amount of blood lost to the floor was too much. The Cretan this time jumped and latched onto the neck of Rude. There was little resistance as the animal clamped down and held down. Rude lay limp on the floor. The only thing that was unfinished was connecting the top and bottom half of the sandwich.
No.
The audience cried and cheered Norman on. Surely he would be the champion since he was the last one standing. The audience stands at this point where miasma is Hold on. The audience stands at this point where a miasma of screaming adults throwing stuff and climbing all over each other to get a good view of the action. The judges still sat unimpressed. J-Bear wrote down something. Granger coughed out of boredom, and Cookie Mama was on her phone. Norman triumphantly and finally placed the top of bread with the peanut butter on it, on the bottom bread with jelly. It was perfect. Despite the poison going through his veins, Norman had actually done it. The years of training, the lifelong feud with Rude Dude, the pain was all worth it for this one moment. The timer went off. The loud, blaring horns bellowed their final call. Norman stumbled out of his cooking station and finished the plate, garnished with a sprig of rosemary, almost glistening.
Rosemary for fucking peanut butter.
It's just for looks. It's garnished. Norman glanced over at his opponent's area. Rude's body still laid there on the floor. Norman gave one final nod. The judges now looked impressed. Norman began to place the sandwich on the desk of the judges for them to give their final call, and crowned the new champion a platinum chef. Right before the plate could even tap the judge's table, the creature that killed Rude leapt onto it and grabbed the sandwich with its teeth before scurrying off.
Oh, fuck Remy.
Before scurrying off to a good place to enjoy its meal.
Nice.
Norman was defeated. All of his efforts smashed to pieces. He fell onto the ground. The poison had finally reached his heart, and now he was literally and metaphorically brokenhearted.
Jesus.
The last words to come out of his mouth were, "Fucking Junkrat." The end.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. No one wins. Another episode has to be. There's too many ties.
Yeah.
Resurrect them. Bring them back from the dead. Do another one. This time, 3 rats and 16 spiders. Let's go.
Oh, fuck that. Well, yeah. What'd you think?
I loved it.
I loved it.
Thank you. This fucking
Beautiful.
platinum chef. He's the cook.
Fucking Remy.